We do have an obesity crisis in this country. This has been talked about. We've talked about it here.
Yep.
What do you think? Is it time for us to make a move?
I really don't mind this at all. I think that if it does discourage parents and kids buying the really sugary drinks, that's not a bad thing for anyone. So my issue is, there's just as much sugar in fruit juice. So I think that what we have to do is almost say this is junk food and that no one really needs soft drink. No one needs it, and most tuck shops and schools are banning soft drinks, so it's going to be water and milk and fruit juice. So I don't think this is a bad thing. And looking at what they're doing in the UK, the money raised from those taxes are actually going to go to fitness programs and extending school hours, which I suggested,
that was you.
so that the kids will actually do extra sport. So I think it's fairly positive.
Yeah. Brett, what are your thoughts on those points Shelly's just made?
All good points, but the real-world evidence is it doesn't work that well. It's been tried in countries all around the world for the past 50 or 60 years, and in some countries, such as, I think it was Denmark, tried it just a couple of years ago, and they've already scrapped a similar sort of tax just because it seems that it doesn't change. It does have some impact on how much sugary drinks people buy, but the people it hits the hardest are those on the lowest incomes generally. And there's also evidence people are buying less sugary drinks. If it's sugary drinks we're most concerned about, the biggest change, according to the New York Times, the biggest change in food consumption in America in the past decade has been in sugary drinks. So maybe people are getting the message without this sort of tax.
Maybe. I know people are going to start screaming about nanny states, so let's move on. Jared Hayne has declared money won't be enough to woo him back to the NRL. He says he's determined to chase his dream and crack the American football code. Brett, do you reckon that's really the reason? There's a lot of money in American football. He'd be making the money he'd make here probably in endorsements. Yeah, well, that's the thing over there. You just play a couple of games, you can play a lot more than you would for a whole season here in Australia. And also, he moved over there to pursue this dream. Why would you want to try and drag him back if it is just about money? What's the real incentive for a sportsman? Is it about money? At his stage of career, probably not. If it's about glory, then here's a chance to do something entirely different. And yeah, the sky's the limit over there. I don't think trying to entice him back here just on the basis of money is a really sensible idea. Who'd want to coach him on that basis?
It's a good story, Shelley, isn't it? The Jared Hayne story.
Well,
and to see the passion, I guess, makes him even more appealing.
I didn't know that much about him. I'm not a huge sport head, as you shock horror. But I watched 60 Minutes on the weekend, and Carl Stefanovic did a profile with him, and I fell in love with him. This is his passion. Sure. This is his dream, and he's come from nothing. He's raised by a single mum. She's supporting him 100%, and I just think, why would you ever make a decision for money versus passion? No deal. I say that we don't bring him back here. We let him try it. Give it a go. What's the worst? He comes back and plays football here. Yeah. Football, rugby, something. Play something here.
Something with a ball.
There's a ball, so I don't know what shape the ball is. But he's coming back with a ball.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, the internet is taking aim at Kate Middleton this morning after she pulled out of a 115-year St Patrick's Day tradition to spend time at home with the kids. Some people are saying that if the Royals aren't honouring traditions, what are they there for? A little bit harsh, potentially. Shelley, what do you think?
Yeah, very harsh. I really am not a fan of the Royals. I only pay attention just so I can see what Kate's wearing. That basically is my interest. I think it should be praised that she wants to spend time with the kids. It should not be held up that, she's shirking her duties. I would say that being a princess would be the worst job in the world. Your time is not your own. You're expected to work basically 24/7, 365, and I just think that it's nothing but criticism, non-stop.
That being said and done, Brett, on this show last week, Katie Nicholl from London was actually the person who broke the story that they're in a lot of trouble there because he only flies 12 hours a week. They're not doing as much as they used to. They've just had a very quick, private, very luxurious holiday in some private place in France skiing. So this is a very old tradition that wouldn't have taken up too much of her time, but that's what the taxpayer dollars go to.
That's exactly right. What else is keeping her busy? All right, nice to have spend time with the kids, but it's her job to be a member of the royal family. It's her job to do this. Surely she could spend a couple of hours away from the kids or get one of the 25 nannies to look after them and go and do this tradition. Otherwise, what is keeping her busy? I think if I was a British taxpayer, I'd be demanding she get out there and do this.
And you could argue that she's married into the job, Shelley, so she kind of knew what she was getting herself
She
into.
knew what she was getting herself into, but why are we going... Like, I just don't understand why we're going to give them so much grief for having some family time. Like, every other human being on earth talks about wanting to have some work-life balance, about wanting to spend time with their family, and then when they set that example, they're criticised.
But she doesn't do anything. There's not that much work involved in what they do.
Come on,
What do they do?
Let me tell you, like, the amount of hair and makeup and outfits that would be planned for her to go to all of these events so that she can shake hands and give a speech, that's a job.
OK, I'm not going to buy into the hair and makeup argument, but I still think from the British public's point of view, that's the job you sign up for. She married into it. No one made her do it, so get to work, sister.
Well, let us know what you think. Should she have broken with tradition? Go onto Facebook and Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Shelley and Brett, good to see you.
See you soon.